Hi and welcome to this video. In this video, I want to try OLSPanel for the first time. I've never used it, so this would be my first time interacting with the panel, installing it and seeing how I can set up a WordPress website on it. If you're looking for a Cyberpanel alternative, let's see how this is going to go, and in the end, I'm going to see if it's something I can recommend or not. But as always, it is always our duty to support some of these free panels so that we are not taken advantage of by commercial panels like cPanel. So let's see how this is going to go. This is my first time using it. The first thing, I want to install it. So all these features are now free. I don't know whether the panel was paid at some point. I don't know. But it says these features are now free. That is OpenLiteSpeed web server. OpenLiteSpeed is a free server you can use in place of Apache, Nginx. Especially for WordPress, is a good alternative. MariaDB, file manager, DNS server, FTP server, SSL, one-click backups, account management, CSF firewall. You can come in and read all this on the website. Let's just see how to get started. Let's click there on get started and see what I need to do. So OLSPanel installation. I will need an Ubuntu up to Ubuntu 24, Debian 11 or 12, Alma Linux 8 or 9, CentOS 8 or 9. Nowadays, I kind of like Alma Linux, so I'm going to go with Alma Linux and see how that works. I also like Debian, but for this situation, let me just go with Alma Linux and see how this is going to go. Right, so let me get a server from Vultr, and then I'm going to install the control panel. So I like to do my demonstrations on Vultr because the interface is quite easy to use. It's easy to deploy a new server. Servers usually come up within 2 minutes. So that's why I like to do my demos on Vultr. And they also provide $300 of free credit for new accounts. If you have a new account, I'll add the link below. You can use that to get $300 of free credit. If you already have an account, just log in and continue deploying the server. Or you can use any provider you prefer. I don't care. Whichever you want to use that. So let's go to deploy a server. I can just click there to deploy a server. Does it show you the minimum requirements for this server? But I want to go to the absolute minimum. This is a test, right? So we want to see how low we can go. It doesn't tell you the minimum requirements for the resources like CPU and memory. So let's just do 1 CPU and 1 GB of RAM. See how that's going to go. I'm going to go to shared CPU for Vultr. I don't care about the location. It's just a test. I'll leave it in Atlanta. And for the servers, I will go with high performance AMD. And I'm going to go with 1 virtual CPU and 1 GB of RAM. You can always upgrade your server on Vultr. And then configure. As I said, I'm going to try it on Alma Linux for today, see how that goes. And then SSH keys. To make things similar for everybody, I'm just going to use a password. So I will leave SSH key unselected. And I'll just go to the next step, setting up the host name. So for the host name, I want to use this domain for the examples. So I'm going to copy the domain, copy, give it a host name, something like panel dot control V. There we go. So this is going to be set up as the host name for the server. Automatic backups, I don't need that for today. Yes, I understand. For production, always enable automatic backups. This is what will save you one day when your server gets compromised. Anything else I need from here? Of course, IPv6. That's like having 2 IPs on the same server. Why not? Get it. It's free. And then that's pretty much it. So I'm going to deploy. After waiting for a bit, So the server is there running. Let us go and log in. Click on it, and I will copy the IP. I'll open my terminal. So you may be following along on Windows, and if you're doing so, just go to Google, search for Git, download Git, open Git bash, and follow along with that. So I'm going to SSH. The user will be root. Control-Shift-V IP. Yes, accept. Type yes to accept. I will get my password from there. Copy. Control-Shift-V. Enter. Control-L. All my Linux DNF app to update. Let's come back. Installation guide. So this is the first step. You copy. So we'll need wget curl sudo. It will install that. Y accept those downloads. So let the downloads complete for the updates. After doing this massive update, I definitely need to reboot the server. So Control L to clear the screen, and then I'll do reboot. Let's go back to the installation guide, and I need to install curl wget sudo Control-Shift-V, and I will also add Tmax. I don't know whether Tmax is available in the default repository. Let's just see. And I can also add htop. Oh, silly me. We are in DNF. Where is apt? Do I have another apt? Okay. DNF. And then the second command, install OLSPanel. I'll just copy that. Control L to clear the screen. Control-Shift-V to paste. Enter. So the installation took about 4 minutes. The installation took about 4 or 5 minutes, but based on initial impression, I should have looked at the script. And if I had looked at the script, I would probably have gone with Ubuntu, because I've seen this script, this installation script, install UFW. I mean, no, that is a no. That is a no from me, but in future, they should probably remove UFW. Just go with NF tables. That is the future. Something else. This is Alma Linux. It was installing UFW on Alma Linux. That is not something I've seen done anywhere before. So probably if you're going to use the panel, just stick with Ubuntu. At the end here, it will give you your panel login info. Let me save it somewhere. Control N, Control V. Come back here. Advanced. Proceed. Admin. Control V. Remember me. Sign in. All right, there you go. That's your panel. That is what the panel looks like. users, databases, domains, files, security, all this you can look at here. Now let's click there on port firewall and see what's happening. These are the ports that are allowed and which firewall is it using. Control L, UFW, status, and apparently it's using UFW. Control L. You can change the firewall that is being used. You just uninstall UFW, firewall D, and use NF tables. And I do have a post like that. If you come to my site, I think that's the last post I wrote for cPanel. Come here to blog. Yeah. You can follow this guide and use it to stick with NF tables. Just find out the ports that OLSPanel uses and then you can use those. Let's also check IP tables. I just want to see, okay, it's using NF tables at least. How about NFT? Okay. So here under security, let's see. CSF firewall, they said that's what they use. They're using UFW for the security. If you come here under security, you'll see UFW firewall is the active one. All right, so that's that for security. If you want to add a port, you can easily add your ports. I saw something about port. Let's look at port. Let's add a custom port, maybe for SSH. We can go with port 53 for DNS, 443 that is for HTTP 3 if you want to use HTTP 3. So save changes. Let's see how this is going to go. Firewall ports updated successfully. If I was to do UFW status 53 UDP and 53 is there. Okay, so that's good. So if I wanted to change my SSH port, I can use that. First of all, you add it to the firewall and then you change your port. So let's see how we can add a website. If I want to add a website, where do I go? Let's go to domains. And right now I'm using the admin user. So there should be an option for me to create another user, a user that I can use for websites. It's not advisable to use admin users for creating websites on any panel. So let's go with add user. That's the domain, copy, add the domain there, paste, PHP version 8.4, sys, ADM, username, sample at Gmail, sample@gmail.com, package. Just give them the unlimited package, but you can also create packages. If you come here under package, password, let me generate a password. Who knows, I might need it. Copy it here. And the username as well, let me copy it. You never know, I might need it somewhere. All right, with that, let's add the user. So domain was added successfully. SSL, this will not succeed. I've not changed my DNS settings. So let me give the domain this IP. I can just copy it from Vultr. Copy that IP. Let's go to let's go to, I want to use Cloudflare for the DNS. So let's go under DNS. Where does this domain go? Is it being used for anything? Go to the domain. Oh, okay, so it's redirecting to sedo. So let me go and disable the redirect, because if that is on, what we're about to do is not going to work. So rules, and we want to go to page rules, and I will disable the redirect to sedo momentarily. Let's come back here, and then I can go back to DNS, and I will add the A record. A record will point to the IP address, and I can just leave it proxied unless I receive any issue about SSL. And the good thing, the CNAME is already redirecting to that. It's already redirecting to the root domain. So the next thing, let's also copy the IPv6. I'll just copy it from there, and I can add an IPv6 record. Quad A record. Use @ to symbolize the root domain, and then I'll paste that there and save. Let's just assume that if somebody was to go to this domain, hopefully the cache is gone. All right, so if you're to go to this domain, you'll see that now it goes to OLSPanel. That is if you're using Cloudflare. So let's go to domains. So why don't I go and manage the domain? So we need to install WordPress. Okay, so I'm assuming to do that, you'll go under users and then list the users. Okay, so as the admin, you can log in as this user. So let's do that. Log in as that user. And let's go to domains. So here under manage, let's see what it brings. It brings the same things. This is where you can install the automated scripts for WordPress, PrestaShop, OpenCart. So let's click on this and see what this one does. So you can install WordPress. Okay, go back. Let's look at this other one, WordPress Manager. Let's look at this WordPress Manager, see what it can do for you. So if you have other websites, if you have websites that are already installed on the server, you can scan and see if any of them is WordPress, and it will be added here. And how do I install a new one? So let's look at CMS. Okay, so you can't install it from there. Let's go back and install WordPress install. So let me use this one to install WordPress. So it will be installed there. That's the domain, and you can install it in a directory if you wanted to, but I will not install it in a directory. And then the site settings, I'll call it sample. The database, you can change the database name, database user, and what I want to change here is the table prefix. Let's install. WordPress has been successfully installed. You can click there to go to WordPress. There you go, WordPress is installed. So update WordPress manager, or rather WordPress. Let's continue with that. So WordPress has been installed. Okay, you can see it's been installed. Let's install a theme, see if there's any permission issues. Themes, or rather add theme. We can install Astra as an example. Activate it. Okay, that went well. We can also install a plugin, add plugin. So let's just go with BuddyPress, install now. Activate. Let's go and look at the front end. All right, so it seems like everything is working. And I can also see it comes pre-installed with LS Cache. Let's go and look at LS Cache. Where is LiteSpeed cache? There it is. So this one comes pre-installed. If you want to host WordPress, you can see it's not a bad panel. You can use it. What else do you want to look at? Let's go and look at the file manager. So where is the file manager? File manager. Go to public HTML. WP config. Let's try to edit that. Edit. Let's change the database. Let's maybe add a U there, save changes, come back and see if the website is now messed up. There we go. Okay, so the file manager works. Let's go and look at the backup options. Add backup. So you can create a full backup, database backup, DNS backups, and you can back it up locally. You can schedule it every day, every hour, and then FTP. If you want to send it somewhere else, you can use FTP. I don't know whether this will support SFTP. And then you can save your backup wherever you want to, every hour, every day. And I do have a tutorial for using Hetzner storage box, which is one of the most affordable storage you can get. €4, less than €4, you'll have 1 TB of storage and you can back up your website. I have a tutorial for that. That's why I'm asking about SFTP. Is it going to successfully work with SFTP? Because Hetzner storage box works with SFTP or SMB or something else. I don't know that it is safe. I think it's safe. So all these others you can come and check. Node.js, if you want to add Node.js, you want to host Node.js, you have to install it. Node.js is not installed on this server. You cannot create or run Node.js applications at this time. Please contact your system admin. So to do that, just go to the documentation, see if there's a way to install Node.js or whichever recommendation they have for Node.js. So here you've pretty much seen everything you need to see. Let's see under PHP what options we have. Multi-PHP manager. So this website is using PHP 8.4. So assuming I want to change it to PHP 8.3, apply. All right. So you can see it's a quite easy panel to use. If you're looking for a Cyberpanel alternative, this definitely checks all the boxes, because you're looking for OpenLiteSpeed, you're looking for an easy way to install WordPress, a file manager, maybe a database in there. So you can see this is actually a reasonable alternative for Cyberpanel. So the only thing you'd have to do, first of all, set up a different server, install it, migrate your website into a subdomain, and then confirm the speed difference. If the speed difference is negligible, then you can just migrate to the panel. I don't see any issue with this panel at this point. Click there on software. What do you have? These are software you can install. Under account, where do you have your profile? Under domains, you can manage your domains. You can add a domain, add DNS, add subdomain, and it's actually not bad for hosting, because I saw that they have a WHMCS plugin. So if you install that and you test it and you see you can use it, and hopefully they do update the plugins as well. This is definitely an alternative if you want to do shared hosting with this, but you have to test with the WHMCS plugin, see if it works. Security, SSL, custom SSL. Let's look at SSL. Right, you can issue SSL. So this is using a self-signed certificate, but the only reason I'm not receiving an error on this end is because I'm using Cloudflare, so it's taking it from Cloudflare. Otherwise, you definitely see an error there. Where was I? Okay, let's come back here and just edit this back. Edit this back to where it should be. Save changes. So let's issue an SSL for this. And let's encrypt SSL. Right now you can see it's using a self-signed certificate. If I was to disable Cloudflare, you'll definitely see that there's an error on the front end. You can also add custom SSL. If you buy SSL from somewhere, you can add your certificate details there and save. Go back to the dashboard. Let's see what else is here. Security, database. Let's look at PHP MyAdmin. It automatically logs you in. All right, that's that. And then database, I see there's an import functionality. You can add a database and import it. Email. So of course I've not tested all the functionalities. Just feel free to leave a comment below. OLS app, you've seen you can manage your WordPress. Let's see what we can do now that we have a WordPress installed. So we can log in. You can set up staging. You can clone the website. You can back it up. And you can edit the settings. Let's look at the manager, see where that will take us. So here under manager, you can look at your plugins and enable or disable plugins. So let's do an example here. Let's disable BuddyPress. Go to the front end. Go to the dashboard. Go to plugins. BuddyPress is supposed to be disabled. Or is that an update? I'm misunderstanding what this does. So status on off. Body press off. I don't know. That doesn't seem to work. How about if we delete a plugin from there? Let's go. Okay. Delete. We'll delete it. All these options, if you have them installed or you want to use any of them, see what they can do for you. All right. So that's pretty much it for this part. Let's go back to the admin user. So log out. And we can log back in as the admin user. Let's look at Node.js. See if we can enable Node.js. So you can install a version here. You can install, maybe install Node 22. While all this is happening, let's look at HTOP. How is the system managing with one virtual CPU? So of course there is no traffic, but the usage is pretty decent. One virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM. This is something you can use to host your WordPress. If your website maybe receives like 100k visits, you can test it. Maybe 50k visits a month, you can test it with this, see how the server will handle it. Let's go back here. So that one is installed. Under server, what can we do? Let's look at services. List of services, MariaDB. You can start, stop, OpenLiteSpeed, DNS, IMAP. If you need to restart anything, you can log into your server and restart it. Server, process manager. You can kill processes. Restart. Okay, you can reboot the server. You can reboot your server immediately. You can gracefully reboot the server as well. Let's just test it, see if this actually works, because some buttons usually don't work on other panels. I think even Cyberpanel doesn't have a reboot. Let's see how this is going to fare. Let's come back here, and it has logged us out. So yeah, it was rebooted. Okay, which is the right password. Definitely a usable panel. Advanced, let's look at OLS app, see what it provides under this. OLS app is already installed. You can start using it from your user dashboard, and you saw how to use that. That is the one that provided the WordPress manager, Joomla, and so on. So this is definitely a usable panel. You can definitely check it out, see how it works, and use it for a while with some of your websites and see how it performs. Let's just continue supporting the free products. It doesn't have, I don't think it has a GitHub account with the source code, because if it did, you'd probably see it kind of looks like Cyberpanel, to be honest. Maybe there's some things that they took from Cyberpanel and just built on it. But it's much better than Cyberpanel, considering Cyberpanel has lots of things. Nowadays, they're adding things, they're mixing up paid and free features on the same panel, which is something they should find a way, they should find a better way of putting those things together. Maybe create another control panel that is a premium Cyberpanel version with all the paid features, so you don't have to see them in the free cPanel. So that's what I wanted to check. Is it something that as a beginner you can just get started and start using? Yes, definitely. Is it a panel that I personally would use on a production website? Yes, definitely. My only issue, as I've said, is using UFW. I don't know why this was the best option, considering I installed UFW on all my Linux. So as I said, if you know what you're doing, you can remove UFW, firewall, IP tables, and install NF tables. Unfortunately, there are certain applications that don't support NF tables well, don't work well with NF tables yet. So that would be an issue. Like Immunify probably would have a problem working with NF tables. Immunify 360 I know doesn't work, is still not compatible with NF tables, and NF tables is a future, so these companies should consider moving their code to work with NF tables by default. Let's see if Immunify can be installed successfully. So Immunify AV, instead of using this, you can probably use Clam AV, which is a free option. On your server as well, if you want to secure it, you can install CrowdSec. That is something I did in one of the last videos I did, the last or the second last video that I did. And in that video, I showed you how to, in that video, I did a few cPanel security, and the last thing I did, if I remember correctly, was install CrowdSec. So install CrowdSec. It is definitely a usable panel, and if it is based on Cyberpanel, it's good. It removed some of the things in Cyberpanel. If you're looking for an alternative, OLSPanel is definitely a usable free web hosting control panel. All right, that's it for this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you have any suggestions, you have any complaints, you can also add them in the comments below.